And so now he ends up killing Uriah, whose wife he stolen and raped. He ends up killing him. And then after Uriah is dead and the baby that he first conceives with her is dead, now he takes this woman in and he marries her. And they have a son by the name of who? Solomon. Okay. Now, we told you last week, Solomon had how many wives? 700 wives. And 300 concubines or live-in hookers. So, Solomon didn't just get like that. Solomon had a bent towards freedom. That's a new word. He had a bent. He was born with this bent. His daddy had it. His great-granddaddy had it. His great-great-grandma, they all had this bent. Now, 1 Kings 11:1. I'm going to take my time and teach it. I'm about to shut it down now. 1 Kings 11:1. He said, but King Solomon loved many strange women, with the daughter of Pharaoh, women of the Moabites, the Ammonites, Edomites, Zidonians, and Hittites. These were all descendants of Canaan. Of the nations concerning which the Lord said unto the children of Israel, you shall not go into them, neither shall they come in to you. Meaning you can't have marriage relationships with them. For surely they will turn away your heart after their gods. Solomon clave unto them in love. That word love is the same word we talked about last week, the word ahava. Okay? So it means sexual, sensual, erotic passion. All right. Now, when you get to the children of Israel, right before they go into Babylonian captivity at the end of 2 Kings, it had gotten so bad to where not only was everybody in Israel a bunch of freaks, but they had houses of prostitution inside of the temple that they built for God. And not only did they have houses of prostitution, one of the most lucrative businesses that they had in the land was homosexual prostitutes. Now, where did they get this from? Ham. They got this from Ham because now Solomon has allowed these Canaanite women to come into the kingdom and turn his heart. And now a lot of men, most of the men in Israel are now marrying women of Canaan. And so by the time they get ready to go into Babylonian captivity, remember, God told them in Leviticus chapter number 18 that if you do this, the land is going to vomit you out just like it vomited them out. And sure enough, the land vomited them out. They go into bondage in Babylon. And so now, because of that sin, they have been exiled from their land. Now, that indicates that you can be born with stuff that you don't even know how you got it. See, that should have freed somebody right there. Because you were wondering, why is it that I'm like this? I didn't see it growing up. But if you go back and talk to your mama or your auntie, they could probably tell you you're just like your grandma, even though you never grew up with them. People can tell you that you act just like your daddy, even though you never grew up with him. Because you're born with a certain bent. That's why men can't grow up and the granddaddy was a player, the daddy was a player, the uncle was a player, all their cousins are players, and now they're players. And they want to live a wholesome life with their wife and their kids, and they don't want to leave their kids and have 5 different kids by 5 different mamas. But they can't help themselves because something is bent and broken in them. That's why you can see women, they make the statement, they say, I'm not going to have any kids out of wedlock because my mama did that. She didn't finish college. My grandmama did that. And so they got all these kids by different daddies. I'm not going to do that. But sure enough, if they don't get it right, their bent will cause them to flow the same direction. Now, I don't want to leave you brokenhearted. Let's go to Matthew chapter 1. Looks like I'm not going to be able to finish it today. Just wanted to break down that religious thinking that keeps people bound from understanding, because I'm going to share some stuff with you next week that's going to make you really understand why people get trapped in this lifestyle. Okay? Watch this. The book of the generations of who? Jesus the Christ, the son of David, the son of Abraham. Abraham begat Isaac, Isaac begat Jacob, Jacob begat Judas, his brethren. And Judas begat Pharez and Zerah of Tamar. And Pharez begat Esrom, and Esrom begat Aram, and Aram begat Abinadab, and Abinadab begat Neah's son, and Neah's son begat Salmon, and Salmon begat who? Boaz. Of who? Rahab. This is the harlot. And Boaz begat Obed of Ruth, and Obed begat who? And Jesse begat who? And David the king, and David the king begat who? Of her that had been the wife of Uriah, and Solomon begat Rehoboam, and Rehoboam begat Abiah, and Abiah begat Asa, and Asa begat Jehoshaphat, and Jehoshaphat begat Joram, and Joram begat Ozias, and Ozias begat Jotham, and Jotham begat Achaz, and Achaz begat Ezekias, and Ezekias begat Manasseh, and Manasseh begat Amon, and Amon begat Josias, and Josias begat Jeconias, and his brethren about the time they were carried away to where? And after they were brought to Babylon, Jeconias begat Selethiel, and Selethiel begat Zerubbabel, and Zerubbabel begat Abiud, and Abiud begat Eliakim, and Eliakim begat Azor, and Azor begat Sadoc, and Sadoc begat Akim, and Akim begat Eliud, and Eliud begat Eleazar, and Eleazar begat Matan, and Matan begat Jacob, and Jacob begat Joseph, the husband of who? Mary. Of whom was born who? Jesus. Okay, so when you go back and you look at this, you see all these people are in Jesus' bloodline. So that means that Jesus is born with some junk in his trunk. But watch this. Jesus was born with all the junk in his trunk, but watch this. All of it stopped with Jesus. Yes. And so I said that to say this. I don't care what kind of bent you were born with. When you get to Jesus, Jesus will straighten your bent out. Amen. I don't care if you were born with whorish propensities. Well, you just want to be a freak, you don't even know why. You want to do voyeurism and allow people to see you naked. You don't even know why. You're a female, you're born with inclinations towards other females and you don't even understand why. You're male, you're born with inclinations toward other males, you don't even know why. You're born with the inclination to lie, you don't even know why. It does not matter what you were born with. If you get Jesus, you can be born again, and Jesus will change your bloodline. I just had to say that because I didn't want y'all to think that I am a proponent of homosexuality. No. Because I don't care what your mess up is, Jesus can change anything. He can change anything. I have witnesses in the room right now who can tell you that he is able to change your desire and change it and point it in the right direction.